Hi guys, long time no see. Yes, again I've slacked on the videos, but here hopefully is a good update video of what's been going on for the last few months. So I've got my trusty notes here, so if I'm glancing, you know why. And also sorry about the noise. There's carbonation going on in the brewery, there's a vent up there that's making noise. I don't have one of those like microphones yet, so hopefully you can hear me. Year one. Since our last update, we've basically had our first full year of production, and the idea of the first full year was basically, is this doable? It was a proof of concept, and it was to see if people would drink our beer, which I can proudly say yes, the proof of concept worked, and people are drinking our beer, which is great. If this is the first video you've watched, then just a little bit of an update. We've got a shipping container brewery here. I call it Frankenstein Brewery because it's been cobbled together with second-hand kit, and slowly as we've made some money, we've been upgrading pipe work and pumps and everything. So it's cobbled together, but it's it can make some decent beer, as I'm going to tell you about. And then on this side here, you've got Portcullis Tap House, which is Phil's pub, and we sell 90% of our beer that we brew just here. That rhymed. We sell it through the pub, and then with that remaining 10%, it goes out to our friends in the wild, which we'll go more into later. So the proof of concept was good, and people were drinking our beer, brilliant. So we started off at the start of year one, predominantly doing cask beer because we only had a open top fermenter, meaning that we couldn't really realistically carbonate our beer. So we started off, I think it was with like 4 cask batches. We started off with like Cam's Roadworks, I'm going to forget one, but we've got all of the pump badges, pump clips in there to show you. We started off with Cam's Roadworks, which is now called Centurion. Cam's Roadworks was a silly name for a silly roadwork that was being done. And then we had Headless Horseman, our best bitter. We did Sauron, which was the dark mild, and then Wastelander. And then after that, our trusty uni tank arrived from China, and that's when we started doing keg. As a part-time brewery, we only brew 2 times a month because I've got my day job and I do this in my free time, or what little free time I have among family life. And then Phil obviously runs the bar full time. So because we only brew 2 times a month, we were leaning heavily on the keg because that's what the popular stuff is, certainly in the craft beer world. Obviously cask is getting more popular, but there's certain demographics in the craft beer scene that prefer one or the other. So we went keg heavy. So we did brew some one-off beers for a bit of fun, but mainly we were refining our core beer recipes. The main ones that are crowd pleasers and the ones that we refined was Adventurer, our American Pale Ale. It was Nerd, which is our New England IPA, and Headless Horseman, which is our best bitter, which is in cask. And those 3 have got to a place where we're happy with, and now on a brew day we can just crank them out. I mentioned that most of our beer is sold in here, but the surplus stock we sell to our friends in the area. So we've had our beer in Southampton, over at Olaf's Tap House, and then in Gosport, in the Junction Tavern, in Havant, Beer to Eternity, our friends who are regulars in here, and they started their own successful pub up in Havant. They've been going for about a year. We brewed a special birthday beer for them. I sadly couldn't attend the event because I was poorly, but there was good reviews on the beer and it looked like a good day. And then we've had our beer in several venues in Portsmouth City proper as well, because we're just outside the city in Fareham. Also, we had our beer up in Alton, and that was I was invited to the Altonian Beer Bash by Jason and Dave up at 10 Ton in Alton. They took Adventurer, and many beers were enjoyed, and I was asked to do a bit of guest speaking and put people to sleep while sitting on the stage having a chat with Dave about the state of the industry and just general beery chat. But that was fun to have that one event last year, because usually on a Saturday I'm locked away in the brewery doing production, so it's nice to be able to go out on events on the odd Saturday. Right, so that's it for year one, and I'm going to show you around the brewery and then afterwards tell you about our plans for year 2. Right, let's just show you a little bit around the brewery. Phil's been doing some DIY here, creating some cool tables, doing some painting and getting the garden ready for the summer. he's also been chipping away at his store of used key kegs over there to get rid of all of them, and then he can use that for storage. But having a small brewery, you have to be inventive with your space, and then unfortunately it means that it looks a bit messy, but we're getting there. It's looking better. That's a shed full of brewery and or pub stuff as well. We've got plans for this space here. This is our keg and cask washer, which we use to clean, believe it or not, our kegs and casks. And you'll see some of our branded kegs there. Those are some older kegs that we use, which we didn't have much luck with because they're a bit leaky, but yeah, we need to get rid of those. The plan for this area is to build like a cover over the top and then have this as like a small batch pilot station, so we can do more small batch pilot stuff, which we enjoy doing. Here's the brewery. You can see some grain stacked up there. We're very light in storage, so we use the brewery as storage. Cans. That's 230 cans ready to be filled with the beer that we're currently carbonating. This is our seamer, and then this is our trusty duo filler that we use to fill the cans. And yeah, we're carbonating a new beer. Well, not a new beer, but it's like a reiterated one. But I can't talk too much about it for reasons that I'll mention in a bit, because it's going to be a special exclusive beer for an event that we're doing. But we're carving it up, and that's what we're doing in the brewery now. So I'm going to take you into the pub now. It's closed today, hence why the tables are inside and stacked up. But here's the pub. Look at all that lovely artwork, courtesy of Phil in Shez. Brilliant, love it. Got some nice comfy chairs that will sit down in a minute just to round up the video. And here is the can offering. Pretty well stocked here. And the important part is Portcullis Brewing Company beers on the top. I'll just open it up. So, we have Nerd, our New England IPA, we've got Adventurer, our American Pale Ale, and Paladin, our Modern Lager. And all of this artwork was created by Phil. Absolutely no AI was used in the creation of this glorious artwork. All of these are available on our website, which is portcullisbrewing.com. That's Adventurer, and this is Nerd. So it's available on our website and also to pick up in stores. So, well, in store, in pub. So if you visit the Portcullis Tap House, then you can take away some of the Portcullis Brewing Company beers. And here are all of the beers that we have done, with the exception of a few, which were done by a couple other breweries. Senile Delinquent was done by Clive over at Newtown in Gosport, and Tap House of Pain was done by Phantom. All of the others are brewed by Portcullis Brewing Company. So, Porters of Durnai, we did that when I was brewing at another brewery, as was Gladius and Nautilus Maximus, which was the first ever Nerd. Gladius was the first ever Adventurer. Centurion was the first ever Cam's Road Works, aka now it is Centurion. And then Alden's Raw was brewed on someone else's kit. And then passing the torch was the collaboration brew we did with Delphic. I went up and met Tom, and we bought his kit second hand because he was upsizing. He's doing really well in a place in the middle of Newbury now. So Cam's Road Works, that was the first one we brewed in a container. Then it was Sauron, then it was Wastelander. We also did do Headless as well in there. It's not in perfect order. Nerd Culture, that was the start of the Nerd series, though technically Nautilus was the start, but that was in the container. Adventurer, it's not a bodge if it works, that's a pilot brew that Phil done. Nerd Shake was a version of Nerds which had lactose in it, bit of fun. We've already seen Headless. That's an award winner. It won second place at a local Camera Beer Festival, and it's one of our favourites in the pub. Paladin, first version of the lager we did. Nerd 2.0, refinement of the Nerd recipe. Punts of Authority, you can tell I'm a Linkin Park fan, is a West Coast IPA. Waka Waka New Zealand Pale, that went down really well. Ramius Fest beer for our Oktoberfest last year, and that's Nerd in all of its glory. That's after we refined the recipe over 4 or 5 brews. And Adventurer is there again, don't know why, but Adventurer won an Untapped award, second place in the American Pale Ale category in England. So that's an award winner, and I'm very proud of it. And so is Headless. But yeah, that's what we've brewed in the shipping container thus far. So now that I've given you the grand tour and an update on what we're doing currently, what about the future? So back to the trusty notes. You'll see here in some horrible lighting, I'm trying to display our cans, which I showed you earlier. Nerd and IPA, Adventurer, American Pale Ale, and Paladin, our modern lager. All of which are available on our website. With all upcoming releases going forward, all of our beer will be available here to buy if you come and visit the pub, or online on the website. So let's get into the notes. So, increasing production. I'm currently looking at levying time off my day job to be able to increase production here. With that, we're going to increase the amount that we can. In the first 3 beers we did 100 cans per batch, but we quickly found out that the demand was higher than that because we didn't even open up to trade customers. So we're going to be increasing the amount we can per batch. It takes about an hour to do 100 once it's all set up, so to do another 100 doesn't take that long, and that means we can open up our can sales to trade straight away. We did send some beer up north to Knutsford, Manchester area, to Dexter and Jones, and that was really cool to get our beer up there, but increasing the canning and production so that we can get our beer further afield, because year 2 is all about building our brand and getting our beer into more people's hands. I've got a couple of events booked in. One's with Portsmouth Food Guide. I can't really go into that too much because it's meant to be a bit of a secret, but he has an event. It's like a beer tasting event, and yeah, go check out his page, and that's at Croxton's in Southsea in a couple of weeks' time. There's a homebrew competition at 4 Ale Tap House in Gosport, and I've been invited to be a judge there alongside Andy Parker, the nicest man in brewing from Elusive up in Reading. So I'm really excited to do that. I've met Andy once before when I went up to Liverpool for a beer conference. But yeah, that's going to be really, really cool. That's in June. And then, as of this weekend, we've been invited to a beer festival overseas in Denmark, in a city called Aarhus. And so my brother-in-law is a brewer, and I went over and worked at MBCC, work being loose. I pulled a few pints but done a lot more drinking, and with Rob, he works for a brewery called Flying Couch, and he's well connected, and I met a few cool people over my time there, and one of the chaps who runs a brewery in Aarhus has called Stepping Stone, has invited us over to their invitation-only beer festival. So I'm having to rack my brain on how we can get beer sent over to Europe. I'm sure it'll be fine, but that's exciting. That's at the end of the year in October. So at the moment we've got 3 events, which yeah, I'm excited to get involved in and spread the brewery, the brewery's name, brewery brand, and also yeah, get people drinking our beer. So I'm pretty sure that's it for the update video. I'll say this every video, that I'm going to try my best to upload more, but the issue with that is I'm got finite time among the day job, the brewery, with the family life. It's tough, but if you guys give me some input as to what you'd like to see, that also helps me in my sort of motivation and knowing what you want to see. So let me know in the comments what you'd like to see, and cheers.